We begin today with explosive new details about the relationship between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. So, for whatever reason, Nathan Wade, would be the ex-boyfriend of Fani Willis. And I don't need to say alleged on that one because, this is a confirmed thing that they had. The timing, however, is in question. And so what we've learned is that there's some 20,000 text messages that were going back and forth. So it's alleged that, this whole affair began actually before the two of them took up as a dynamic duo. And so the concern from anybody on the Trump side would be, hey, wait a second, did Fani Willis just go out and hire her boyfriend? And in doing so, did she benefit financially? She said, I got a few cruises out of it. Apparently that's not enough as far as the judge was concerned to actually get her out as DA. Really, she ought to be out as DA because a lot of her credibility has now come into question. But for some reason, Nathan Wade felt compelled to go on to Good Morning America for ABC News and, double down on the lies. Double down on the lies, pretend that it just happened. Once he met her after she had hired him. Remember, this guy made hundreds of thousands of dollars, $600,000 working for Fani and working for the state of Georgia. And somehow he wants us to believe that, no, that this was a thing, a workplace romance that started once he was working for her. Whereas I think everybody else is just saying, well, then why is there 20,000 text messages? And why did you go to her apartment, her condo so many times? I mean, hey, we weren't born yesterday now, were we? He thinks we were. He thinks you were. Look at what he's trying to spin right now. And somehow his whole thing with Fani Willis is just as American as apple pie. Give me a break. Let's watch it.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone. But it happened to the two of us.
Do you regret
that thing? I regret that private matter became the focal point of this very important prosecution. This is a very important case. I hate that my personal life has begun to overshadow the true issues in the case.
The relationship created a whirlwind of distraction from the indictment of former President Trump and 18 others for alleged election interference, some of whom have taken plea deals while others, including Trump, have pleaded not guilty. Attorneys for some of those defendants argue that Wade and Willis's actions disqualified them from trying the case, filing a motion against the prosecutors and revealing the romance to the public. A Washington Post columnist wrote, "What were they thinking? How could two seasoned attorneys embroiled in the prosecution of a former president start a romance and not see this trouble coming a mile away?" And so what were you thinking in that moment?
Again, you don't plan to develop feelings. You don't plan to fall in love. You don't plan to have some relationship in the workplace. That you don't set out to do that, and those things develop organically. They develop over time. And the minute we had that sobering moment, we discontinued.
So, as soon as they fell in love, they discontinued it. All right, guy, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I'm just not buying this. As American as apple pie. Oh, please, please, please. Okay, so here's the deal. You don't have 20,000 text messages with somebody. I mean, 20,000, I don't know how anybody gets 20,000 text messages. Believe me, I mean, no matter how much y'all like someone, 20,000 is a heck of a, do you people ever work? Ever? So 20,000 text messages and then multiple visits. Multiple visits to her apartment, her condo, before he got the big gig. I'm sorry, what's going on? That is one heck of a job interview, gotta say. Fani, man, oh man. We weren't born yesterday, okay? So stop trying to spin us. She hired her freaking boyfriend, allegedly hired her boyfriend. I don't know how you get around that. I am disappointed that the prosecution for Trump didn't zone in on that a little bit more. Instead, they were trying to prove, I guess, she took a few cruises, whatever. What they needed to really show And I think they will do this in the appeal. What they need to show here, because the judge has okayed that they go back at this again, they need to prove that Fani hired her guy pal and in doing so may have financially benefited. So somebody's going to do a forensic accounting examination of exactly how much Fani had, what she was spending on, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it can't just be a cruise. It can't just be a Rolex watch if that were the case, right? Because you could say, oh, well, those were gifts from the boyfriend. They've got to actually figure out whether there was anything that was exchanged by way of maybe he was giving her, she admitted she was working in cash all the time, right? She had all that cash. Her father tried to tell us it was a demographic thing. Remember that one? He said on the stand, he actually said, oh, it's a black thing that she had all this cash. I'm sorry. Like, you people down in Georgia, I don't know what these Democrats are thinking. We're smoking, for that matter, right? I mean, for goodness sakes. And now he's on national television trying to say, no, like, we fell in love. And that's as normal as can be. It was just a workplace relationship. Listen, I think that they probably had something. This is my speculation. I'm going to allege here that they may have had something going on. She hired him because she liked him. Was she benefiting from that financially? I'd like to know, right? I'd like somebody to take a really deep dive at her financial records, all of them, figure out where she was spending her money, look at where that money was going, and determine whether there was anything that was being skimmed off the top, because $600 and some odd $1,000 is a lot, probably more money than this guy ever makes otherwise. That's another thing that they got to look at. Was his salary that he was getting from the state of Georgia in any way commensurate with what he would have or should have been getting? Or was she paying him more handsomely? Anyway, for some reason, he felt like he had to go out there on national TV. And I don't think this thing is over yet. I don't think it's over yet at all. And I think it's a clown show. That's just the reality of what we're looking at right now. And how sad is that? The total clowns that are out there and trying to go after a former president of the United States of America. And that's pretty messed up. It was Judge Scott McAfee who felt like they were not able to prove the financial gain of Fani Willis enough, but they still can get a second go at this. Willis herself, she's up for re-election this year. She's denied any wrongdoing. The findings of the legislative probe, however, could inform acts by the Georgia legislature to reform some laws or adjust the state appropriations process with the intention of restoring public confidence in the district attorney's office. This is according to Fox 5 Atlanta. I mean, how are you supposed to have any confidence in this office when everybody's pairing up with one another? Remember how Fani Willis actually went out and told the Georgia voters that she wasn't going to do that, that, she wasn't going to have affairs with employees and use taxpayer dollars to help fund those affairs. And yet, lo and behold, what do you know? Oh, Fani, you got a great big problem on your... By the way, Fani has a big budget. See, I saved myself. We're keeping it clean. But Fani, she's got a lot of money to spend. Taxpayers should be really annoyed because she's got some $36 million that she gets to figure out how she can spend it, like where it's going to go, here, there, and everywhere. Apparently, Nathan Wade got a healthy share. Why does Fani Willis get to spend all that money, $36.6 million a year, that she gets to go out and hire independent contractors for? That's one heck of a lot of power, is it not? So is there any kickback going on? That's what I would just be asking. And that's what the Trump lawyers should be asking and trying to prove right now. I think that this woman may have misused public funds. And amid those allegations, somebody's going to actually start demanding better answers. She should not have that kind of discretion over that kind of money unless she is squeaky clean. And this woman is nothing like squeaky clean.